Moving on to another one that may try to have some play at Oscars. I don't know the success it may have, but it's two
Yeah.
movies that played at festivals: Devotion and The Inspection. Zach and the Cars Cast boys, even Amanda, I believe, were able to catch The Inspection over at TIFF. Zach, I don't think you've caught Devotion yet,
I
but we
wanted to, and then I caught
you guys, you
COVID
guys
this
said yeah.
week.
You didn't want to take everybody else out of the theater, but
Yeah.
these have been like the kind of very similar Aviator movies. I'd say even more than that. The Devotion, because of the casting that it has, feels a lot. In the vein of Top Gun because of Glenn Powell,
Yeah.
someone who serves as producer here, the one guy who did get his pilot license. But what I do like about Devotion is that it feels like the movie you take your grandpa to, right? If we're having movies about race relations, I don't know if Parasite, The Menu, maybe even some jokes in Glass Onion may go through people's heads.
Right.
This is that movie, and I think we don't realize that there are certain movies that may be cliche at this point in time. Yes, this movie in the 2000s would kill way more than it does today. But I think the performances from someone like Jonathan Majors is really what anchors it. Being able to hear him talk about it at Chicago, I think really added an element that he himself as an actor and what he's dealt with in the industry, he was able to bring that into a movie where him playing the first real life, because it's a true story, aviator pilot, and all the BS that he had to go through. Just his commentary on that and how he was able to reflect on both, I thought was very powerful. It is a movie that hits the same beats that you think it's going to hit in these biopics, but I think the performances, Joe Jonas even has a song in it, and the camaraderie that they're able to build together as a group, I think works well. You're not going to get the visuals that you got in Top Gun, but I still
Yeah.
think the visuals were effective here. And personally, it's not a full combo price, but I still think it's worth leaving the theater to go catch on a big screen for the aerial scenes and for Jonathan Major's performance. It also comes from J.D. Dillard, who he's been making a couple of movies here and there for a
Yeah.
while. I've liked Slight, Sweetheart. We caught at Sundance. I thought it was okay. So he's more of a character director guy, and I think he's gotten the best actor that he's worked with to date in Jonathan
Right.
Majors.
And he is kind of like slowly scaling up the kind of movies he's been working on. So it is interesting to sort of see him on the ascend. I feel like even though I haven't loved any of his movies yet, he's like an interesting filmmaker and a guy I have my eye on. This one, yeah, I mean, I'm curious about it because it seems like a pretty like satisfying time at the movie theater, but it also does seem a little bit like bland in spots from
Yeah.
the previews and from the general reactions I'm seeing. Question to you though, just getting back to that Top Gun comparison, do you feel like a movie like this is hurt more or helped because yeah, I mean, like people are calling it,
Help.
Glenn Powell's other fighter pilot
Yes.
movie and
And
stuff like
I
that.
think if anything, it intrigues them because they tried a dish that they liked, and now here's another similar dish, right? So I feel that a lot of people would gravitate towards it. It came in at the top 5 with competition like Black Panther. It came in at the top 5, and I really
Yeah.
liked his tweet. I don't know if you got to see it. That Jonathan Majors, he was saying in an interview, or I guess it was a video, where one of his relatives had called him and was crying that they had just come out of Black Panther and they saw him in 3 trailers before the movie even began. Creed, Ant-Man, and Devotion. My man is having a year.
Yeah,
He's having a
made
great
it.
year.
He's fully made it.
Yeah, to think that this is like the entry level one almost. But just hearing him speak about the roles, even if, like you said, it's not going to be the most profound movie, which I think there's substance in there. But I think with movies like She Said, which I was able to finally catch up recently, I see everything that you were. I relay all of that you said. It is a by the numbers movie, but that's almost what it serves, right? We keep looking
Yeah.
at these movies as like they're not bad. It's just they would have been perfect 15 years ago. It's these movies that are late, and I feel like that's the only thing we're holding against them. But while they're late, I think it still fits for that crowd. I think that there's an audience for these movies, even if they may not be the things that win us over by the end of the year. But I still think Devotion is a solid movie. And comparing that to The Inspection, another film that was coming around at the same time, also dealing with joining the military. And you guys had some very interesting reactions coming out of this one. And I feel like I had the preparation going in to
Right.
know what to expect from this. And it's a very personal story.
Yeah.
This is the director's own tale about how he was living out on the streets, and because his mother, who did not like his lifestyle, wouldn't embrace him, he ends up joining the Marines, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the camaraderie or the hassle, all of the bullying that he dealt with there, that deals with a breaking point in his life. Because this is the director's true story, Bro, the name of his production company is Oorah Pictures.
He lived it.
It does feel weird to tell somebody. That's
Yeah.
a weird conclusion to get at the end of the movie.
Very, very weird. It doesn't
Can
really
I deny someone their truth?
That's the thing. It's like that's one of the things that and this also speaks to the difference to me between reality and fiction. That just because something happened in real life doesn't mean it will serve a satisfying dramatic arc. And while I found a lot of what's happening in The Inspection to be really interesting, I've never seen the story of a gay recruit going through boot camp,
In 05.
Right, and in this particularly given also the homelessness that factors in, his being black, which factors in. It's just there's a lot of interesting stuff there, but I feel like it's only half of a movie, and I don't really know what the other half is because at some point he just seems to accept where he's at. I don't know. It's something that I can't really fault the talents of people involved. I just don't know if the arc really works for me in this context. I think maybe it might have been better suited as a short than a full feature.
I'll switch because it is very short. This thing's only 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
And the way the entirety of the movie is told is from his perspective. The way he does push-ups, it's from his POV. It's very much a self-reflective movie. And yeah, I feel it could have been more, but I appreciated his telling of what he went through, his story. And I like the play on the title, The Inspection, because you're waiting for it to be the one inspection, but it's really another inspection that he's been waiting for. And I'm interested to see, again, what he does in the future, because every time we've mentioned this, Elegance Brand, he did do another documentary, Peer Kids, that I think really gets into more of what you're talking about. Homeless, queer kids, and like how the means of surviving. And that being a documentary, I think covers it in a much better, more in-depth light, I'd say.
Your boy Raul Castillo has an interesting role in this film. A lot of people are talking about Gabrielle Union also as a potential Best Supporting Actress nomination.
She was good.
She's all right.
I
don't know if I have her in my 5, but she's good in the movie.
Yeah, there's not too much that she does in there.
Yeah, I'm mostly struck with Jeremy Pope, who I thought was pretty excellent in the lead of this film. I don't know if he's an Oscar contender, but this is the kind of role that makes me look out for this guy in the future, and I think he's going to have a very bright career.
Agreed. So we have The Inspection and we have Devotion. I'd say Devotion, worth leaving for the theaters at a matinee price. And then for The Inspection, I do think it's worth a rental. The Inspection, I know for a fact, they just announced is going to be coming out in a week virtually. So if you like the A24 screening room, honestly, they need to do like an A20. I know A24 has a club already, but they need to do like discount codes for people who are doing the virtual screening room. Start collecting some points or something so they can get those pins off the store. But this one, I'd say it's worth waiting at home, even though the cinematography is beautiful on a big screen, but it will be streaming virtually in just a couple of weeks, as announced today.